All right, hello, and welcome. Excuse me, a bit of a cough there to kick off the morning. You guys might notice right off the bat, it's a different camera angle. What is happening right now? I don't know. I just want to try something new. We'll see how it looks. I might just go back to the old webcam on top of the monitor, but I kind of like this look a little bit better. How you doing there, Zombie Grub?
I'm all right.
Good to have you back. We are going to be casting TakeTV's Penthouse Party, round of 16 and onwards today, guys. Unlike yesterday, I'm going to try to not be a little bitch and actually finish the entire cast. Man, yesterday went long, dude. I fell asleep after group 2.5 because there was a big delay, and just couldn't finish it on my own. Woke up after like a pretty nice rest, and it was still going on. And I'm like, Jesus, I'm really glad I didn't try and force myself through that.
I actually came back and it was still going on. So
yeah, I think it ran close to 14 hours or something like that.
Yeah, I think it was on the team of its sidebar anyways until like 5 or 6 night time.
Yeah.
That's pretty long.
Well, it was like 6:30-ish your time is when it ended. It could be that's about when I woke up ish, the ballpark in that area. But anyways, glad to have you back. I will say I had some fun with the games yesterday. There were some really good matches actually, but everything is like when you were here, there were a lot of 2-0s, and the second you left, everything went to the ace match, and delays happened, and because some people were playing in the TakeTV studio, there was like needing to set up, and it's just, oh my gosh.
I was gonna ask you if there was like more delays or if everything went smoothly after, like they promised it would.
Yeah, it's like tomato. All the delays were totally understandable. There wasn't something where we're like the start of the broadcast yesterday. Let's be honest, that was kind of like BS to sit around for an hour and you're like, what's going on? Any other delay that happened during the broadcast was totally understandable, and I'm not even complaining. It would happen to anybody, type thing. But, yeah, hopefully today goes a bit smoother. We have some really cool updates, so if you guys haven't been following the prize pool storyline of this, first off, type !TakeTV in our Twitch chat. You get 2 links. One's for TakeTV's subscription page, one's for TakeTV's donation page. And again, it's like, Rifkin, hold up. Why are you trying to show off someone else's donation and subscription page? Because half of those subscriptions and half of those donations will go towards increasing the prize pool. The prize pool for this started at $500 from this like swell of new subs TakeTV got, and it's grown to a little, I think it's like 1,900 or 2,000, somewhere around there last time I checked, so looking pretty good for TakeTV's prizing. They do have a goal. They want to try and get $3,500 set up in total for players. Obviously, more would be even better, but I am totally down for trying to send every single person their way, send them a couple of bucks, put some money towards that prize pool, and of course help TakeTV make some money in the process. But our first cast today is going to be Namshar and MaSa. So this should be a pretty good TvZ to kick things off with.
Yeah, and they're actually all ready to go.
Nice. Side note to TakeTV things, stuff strictly about us for a moment, guys. Our random versus random qualifier number 2 is scheduled to play today. Honestly, this will likely run well past and over it, so we obviously won't be able to cast both things. We don't want to let TakeTV down, so I've talked to CK Walsh, who's the person who organized and gave us money to make the random versus random tournament. I said, look, dude, we're down to the wire on this. There's no time to move this around. Can it just play out today, and maybe we'll cast a couple replays tomorrow? And he said, yeah. So what we're going to do is the brackets are going to not be publicly updated. The players will have their own secret bracket. The qualifiers will still play out without us casting them. And then tomorrow, probably, I will say afternoonish, so that both of us can just kind of luxuriously wake up and relaxingly get on the cast. We'll cast a couple of the qualifying games. Then Sunday is the main event, and that's your BaseTradeTV weekend forecast.
Woo! The weekend forecast. Oh, that wasn't the right person. Do you have MaSa on your friends list by chance?
He's the barcode in chat.
The Zerg barcode?
I believe so. He was yesterday. I'm not sure if clan tag, but he was the only barcode yesterday.
Okay. Well, that's deceiving. Zerg 1-1 barcode.
If it's the wrong person, I would kick him out of the lobby.
We'll see.
Is MaSa? There you
go. Okay. I guess he likes the Zerg. Fine. Whoa, what is on my hand? I got like glue on it. But I don't remember doing that.
I mean, I know what you were doing yesterday. No one else does. So I'm sitting here wondering, why do you have glue on your hand? Regarding what you did yesterday.
I got a patch and I glued it onto my backpack. So I had glue on my fingers.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know how I got in the back of my hand.
What type of patch? Like what do you mean? Like, is a hole in your backpack, or is it like a badge type thing? It's just cool flair, like.
It's cool flair, man.
Okay.
I have at least 10 flair. And on Facebook.
That movie is... I hate how old that is now, because it's a movie I grew up with loving, and I look back and I'm like, this makes me feel so old.
When did it come out?
Okay.
I feel like it came out in 2000, but
Checking IMDb. 1999.
Oh, okay. It was close.
You were close, but it's still... That's 17 years ago, man. How the what? Okay, well, ladies and gentlemen, the round of 16, I believe, is best of 3. I think it's all best of 3 up until the semifinals. I'll actually check afterwards. Okay.
It is best of 3 only for this match in the losers round 1.
Okay, then it's best of 5s afterwards. Gotcha. And the finals will be a big old best of 7.
Yeah.
So I hope you guys are looking forward to 12 more hours of casting, because we're not exaggerating when we say that's likely what it's going to be. No qualms over here, though, because, again, pretty good matchup to start off. He's got the home field advantage playing the European server in the top left side of Frozen Temple. We've got the Red Zerg, Namshar.
In the bottom right has the blue Terran. He is actually MaSa.
Yeah, and I guess if we end up casting more of MaSa, I'll get an overlay thing set up for him, but, again, barcode, MaSa, hopefully you guys can figure out the difference. Now, there's a couple of things I can tell you about Namshar. Number 1, this dude likes Coca-Cola. Secondly, he's actually been improving very steadily. The fact that he got out, I think it was first place in his group too, I think a year ago would have been surprising to me. But not lately. I mean, it was DreamHack Austin earlier this year. He dethroned Harstem and knocked him out of the tournament. And it's been a lot of these online cups that Namshar has been finishing in top 4 rather than top 8. He's come a long way over 2016. And I'm really curious how he's going to do here, because despite the fact that he is at a server disadvantage, he's at a hell of a time zone disadvantage, MaSa is still a pretty good TvZ player. Only really losing to Scarlet, it seems, nowadays.
Yeah, that role has switched around. It used to be like she always lost, but he is still a very good Terran. And Namshar...
Do you think it has anything to do with the region locking? Because he is Korean.
Yes, he was mentally negatively affected.
He is mentally
by
region
his Korean brethren being region locked. Yes, that is absolutely true. No, I don't know. Because the thing about MaSa has always been, for me, that I know he's a really good player, and I know he's really solid, and that he wins all these North American tournaments. Yet I never really expect much from him when I see him in tournaments, which is just, it's like there's a disconnect for me, I suppose. And there still is, even after casting him quite a few times. So I know he's really good, he's really solid. His micro and macro is really good, but...
I think the way I put that is kind of the way we saw you thermal at the start of the year a bit too, right? A player that we know is good, but doesn't show like the craziest results. And then, of course, over the year, you thermal start getting results, so we can't say that about him anymore. I feel like for MaSa, like, if it's a Canadian Cup, if it's something homeland, he's great and amazing, he's like the Bonjour. But everywhere else, we do see him kind of, I don't know, do okay.
Well, yeah. I mean, Americans, am I right? No, I'm just kidding. Don't hate me. But, actually, Namshar might think this is a Roach or a 3-Rex. I would say now he knows it's not.
Yeah, you'd already see that third Reaper coming up. But interestingly enough, MaSa also playing a little bit worrisome. That bunker goes down pretty quick, and I guess he's expecting Namshar to respond to this with Roaches, which is atypical. It would be less conventional to see Ravagers coming out, though, because while Ravagers are a great counter to a 3-Rex Reaper, you don't typically make Ravagers in response to just Reapers themselves. But perhaps seeing not enough workers, MaSa's identified that there were Roaches coming, and there's quite a bit of Roaches on the way. It's like 5? 6?
6, which... he could push out, actually. The thing about the 3-Rex Reaper is that you really can't push out into them. There's like 10 of them, and they're gonna just grenade you all the time. Well, there's only 2 of them. You could definitely push forward and actually get a bit of damage done, either on the command center or on the supply depots.
Well, he'll have to bring that Overlord down. That's kind of out of position right now, but yeah.
The tank's already out, so I would say this is going to do no damage.
Well, so the argument I would make is if you did make 3 Ravagers, no more, but just 3, you could actually put a lot of pressure on that bunker. You could actually possibly even kill the tank. But you're right, if just Roaches slow like this, they don't stand a chance.
Maybe if the tank was ill-positioned and there was no medevac, but the medevac was also well-timed. I mean, MaSa playing a very safe game here. The double Reaper opener was a little cute, I guess. Like, think about one Reaper never does anything anymore against a Zerg player. Like, maybe you get a drone or a couple of Lings that they made. 2 Reapers is not going to do much more. It's when you have, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then suddenly it's a problem. So it feels like he did try and, like, kind of get something like either scaring Namshar or maybe he was going to dive deeper, but then saw how much gas was taken or saw the lack of drones, I don't know, and decided not to. But it was kind of a funky little, like, twist on a build. And the fall of the tanks just seems like everything's worked out really well for MaSa. Like, he successfully baited Namshar, basically.
I mean, it's baited in, like, the lightest sense of the word, though, really.
It is, because, the fact that Namshar made 5 Roaches, and it's not, like, the biggest economic loss, it is still something. I mean, it's a pretty early time that he made Roaches instead of drones. That's pretty significant, but
yeah.
I can't imagine the tank is going to do much more as a follow-up. I'm more worried for the actual follow-up when Sim is done.
So the Roach part of this actually is not so bad in this instance, because Namshar has been playing the same road that Snoot and Nurchu and others have been taking, where you end up using Roaches and Ravagers as a primary part of your composition, paired up with Infestors, and just kind of control the late game. Oh yeah, the Infinite Changeling is going to be really weird to spot now, by the way. Not only does it not look any different to the observers, it has no health bar thing. Oh wait. Anyways, thank you, Bractimus, for the 20-month resub. Great to see that to kick off the day. I do want to, by the way, make this very clear, as we did yesterday. Oh, there you go, he sees it. Any subs and donations on BaseTradeTV will not be contributing towards the prize pool. If you do want to help the players earn a little bit of cash and you want to support TakeTV in the process, type !TakeTV in chat. You'll be given links to go to their donation page and their subscription page. I believe they're close to 2,000 subscribers, which, by the way, is basically double what we have. Super jelly.
Yeah, a little less than double now. 50 Prime's pretty cool.
Let's see. We're at we're almost at 1,100 right now.
Almost 1,100. Yep.
So it's still basically double. I mean, let's be honest.
Basically. Well, this game is shaping up pretty nicely, and MaSa should be moving out with his 1-1 and handful of tanks. Since this one is still alive, it does add to the tank counts a little bit. I actually expected him to have at least one more, but he doesn't. He only has that one. Well, that's a little lame then. Mass Marine is okay, but...
I mean, this is going to be Mass Marine, but they will also have 1-1, so it's going to be some nice damage. But the fact that Namshar went armor first means that +1 weapons isn't going to be as dangerous as it normally would be.
I'm kind of surprised Namshar went for first into +1, despite getting, well, first of all, double Evolution Chamber, and second of all, just that, if you're going to go for the Carapace only, you literally only go for Carapace only. You don't add in the +1, you add in the +2, but actually, there he goes now anyways. Oh, he actually canceled +1, so I guess that was a mistake. Well, that's interesting. Of course, wrong priority as the attack goes on.
Right, I was going to say, it might not have been a mistake if he was trying to use the gas for other things, but he did go into +1 melee immediately, so curious indeed. That Hive Tech comes up pretty quick, and he just might be thinking Ultralist, like he's just going to have smooth sailing to it, but MaSa's not going to let him smooth sail anywhere. One of the things about MaSa, like other great Terrans, he usually doesn't give you room to breathe. Once these attacks commence, they're supposed to keep going for quite some time, and as we see, picking up the medevacs, flying over this way, Namshar not initially having 5 queens in the front line, but he gets a big pick with that medevac. 8 Marines inside of it go down.
Let's be honest, most Zerg players are going to have some number of queens. To just run through their base is a pretty bold move. MaSa, I would say, making a big mistake there, because not only does it take down the Marines that are inside the medevac, and that's like a good chunk of his army, it's like on top of some of the medevacs, literally, as well. So his follow-up push might not be as potent. He also, I guess, was a little delayed on the 2-2, so now starting it and, getting all his macro in line, basically. Starts a lot of tech labs on his barracks, so his Marauder production, I guess, should skyrocket.
I will say, though, through this, we look at the income graph, and I mean, MaSa was nailing it through all of that. I don't know if it's just mules or the fact that Namshar was dancing some of the drones around, but his income's only just now catching up to MaSa.
Well, this follow-up push should still be scary. Even like again, the lack of medevacs kind of sucks. He has been producing them well enough up until he switched over to Liberators. As long as he can carry the tanks, basically, right? And there's 4 medevacs for 4 tanks right now. If he doesn't lose one. 2-2 would have been, I guess, better at it timed out, but there's no way, I don't think, that it would time out with this Ultraless Cavern. I think maybe, like, 30 seconds faster, but the Ultraless Cavern is really quick in itself, so he's gonna have to just deal with pushing and then seeing if he can push long enough to get to 2-2, yet still scaring Namshar off the back off of those Ultras. Namshar does need to use this bank to defend against this.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's some queens in the front line like that too. It really limited on what it can do for anti-air. Will be mostly relying on Ravagers going forward. Marines also dropping the natural base, so we got 2 attacks on 2 sides of this simultaneously. About 10 workers go down initially, but the 4th base might fall too. I'm actually not sure if Namshar has enough on the front lines. A couple of tanks get leapfrogged forward, medevacs start healing his Marines, so they can start focusing on that hatchery, and looks like it's gonna get really low.
The tank count is just, it's not super amazing, but it is pretty damn good. Also covered by the Liberators, so the Corsair Gear going to go on those first. Again, like, the lack of medevacs is a little disappointing for, I think, MaSa. He's having trouble healing his bio right now, but also the emergency evac of all his tanks will actually be impossible. Only 3 medevacs. Fungal has come in, as well as a surround here, and that's going to really help deal with the tanks. MaSa actually reinforcing right now, probably a mistake here as he tries to run back.
Yeah,
and Namshar not only
too.
push that back, he still has a fairly significant bank. He could probably get another base up or a macro hatchery and continue building those Ultras.
This is massive, not just for the Ultras, but this gives him plenty of time to get that chitinous up. Whereas otherwise, had he sacrificed an army and it didn't work out, he would have lost the 4th, and things would have just really crumbled down from there. So, I mean, on one hand, great control out of Namshar. On another, MaSa was not really being the greatest with that attack either. Like, the tanks were involved for most of it. If they were into the hatchery, it certainly would have died. The Liberators could have been placed elsewhere. I don't know. There's, like, question marks for me on both sides of the way that went down. But ultimately, I think Namshar comes out a little bit better for it. I also want to note that it's only just now MaSa's 2-2 kicks in. He was actually fighting with Namshar having a big armor lead. So, of course, with Roaches already being pretty naturally tanky, hard for the Marines to chew through that.
Yeah. MaSa also attacking in without many Marauders. You know, he only recently added on all those tech labs to the barracks and had to reinforce with them as opposed to having them already on the front lines. Yeah. And unfortunately, now that he has them to kind of deal with the Roaches, even the world's best focus fire has difficulty dealing with the Ultras beyond that, especially if there's proper reinforcement of the Ultras, so Infestors and Limbs.
So this is kind of, by the way, SimCity here, if he doesn't kill the Evo Chamber, works out so good for him, but killing the +3 is also pretty nice, so I don't know which was going to be better, staying versus killing. But if you can't fight the Ultras head-on, sometimes going around them is your best course of action, and this is where, we see multi-pronged drops start to pay off. 4th base goes down, losing that +3. Oh, that's going to suck with that medevac, but MaSa dancing around the issue rather than trying to take it head-on, and honestly, it's the best thing you can do right now.
Well, the most dangerous thing about this is that when you start losing your medevacs, you A, literally won't have medevacs, or B, you have medevacs but no Liberators, because eventually, Namshar is going to get fed up, or just finally solidify his defense, and he's going to push, and you're going to have either Sim's bio that kills itself, or Liberator, or no Liberators, yes.
There's another aspect of that too, speaking of no Liberators. On one hand, we're going to see corrosive biles, we're going to see some fungal growths, obviously, but if Namshar decides to invest in Aspire and go for even just 5 Corruptors, 5 to 8 Corruptors, there's nothing that's really going to stop that. With so many Marauders being emphasized for production, there's not that many Marines to shoot the air down. So that's something that might just come into play a little bit later. Ultra's Cavern, the main danger of going down, though. Looks like he might not be able to save it. MaSa gets the pick, so these last 4 Ultras will be the last 4 for a little bit of time, at least.
Yeah. Base not getting any luck getting back up, but Namshar is expanding off to the left side. He should probably expand again off to the left side, as he is banking quite a few minerals. I mean, he was maxed out. I guess he lost drones or queens or something.
Yeah,
he's close
Larva.
enough to it.
Fuck yeah.
Okay, get it. But Namshar's gonna go for the attack now. There aren't too many medevacs, so stims do hurt MaSa here, but he has a decent number of tanks and a couple Liberators. I would say that being able to pick up all the bio would have been much better in this situation. I
like this focus fire at the end, though. The Marauders are going to try and trade as best they can. I mean, keep in mind, we look at the resources lost. Namshar is not exactly destroying MaSa, but MaSa's production is what's going to be really called into question here. I mean, it's looking good, don't get me wrong. I actually really like his production, but as long as he can afford to keep it up, I think he can afford to take those losses. It looks devastating to lose 14 Marauders to a couple Ultras, but those trade out kind of cost efficiently.
It wasn't as bad as it looks. That fungal was better. There we go. And that's going to be the danger of any time rushing forward with a bio. The Liberators are only coming out from one starport, which means it doesn't have a lot either. It's luckily in a great position. A planetary fortress in a building command center.
Yeah, and meanwhile back at home, Namshar has been bleeding out slowly and hemorrhaging, just like that fourth base, now the main base, that Hive's going to go down. Oh, that sucks. So no chance of Vipers, the Greater Spire, or anything of that caliber for some time.
Yeah, he did manage to build 6 more Ultras, because the Ultras government actually finished, the new one. Yeah. And he immediately builds a lair. I mean, he recognizes that this game is probably, at this point, like 4 bases not being denied by his Ultras. Probably going to go on for a little while longer, and he's going to need the anti-air eventually for either, for the Greater Spire and Brood Lords, or just to get Corruptors to deal with the Liberators, which they still aren't really rising in numbers too much, but now there's 3 starports. So they could very easily. And 7, again, with that good SimCity, could be really hard to deal with. A couple of Ghosts not laying down the snipes.
Oh, I just realized, doesn't he have Liberator range? No, he doesn't.
Well, we only recently got the Tech Lab on the starport. I don't think he remembered to get a Fusion Core.
No, I mean, Ghosts are, I think, way better and more effective anyways, but just with the effectiveness of the Liberator so far, I just assumed he would have been going for it. It's kind of one of those things you don't look at, but he's also continuing to invest in air weapon upgrades, so he's definitely going to see more use out of those Liberators as time goes on. Bio going to try and kite down this Ultra. Nice. We'll take almost one down. Attack to the north with these Marauders going to be taking down this base one more time, and Namshar is actually in a lot of trouble now. He doesn't have a lot of minerals left to mine on this third base, much less his natural. They're all almost gone.
Yeah. I really, I guess, after watching someone like Snoot, yesterday, right? I might be misremembering.
2-0 back to back.
Okay. After watching Snoot, really gotta critique Namshar's lack of splitting here. He didn't really split with his Roaches, and he hasn't split with his Ultras either. Yeah. I mean, it's difficult, of course. It's not like I'm like, what are you, pro gamer? Jesus. But that is the main reason that he's losing out here.
That's what it sounds like, Zombie Grub.
I know. Because, okay, you only divvy up the Ultras, then MaSa will probably kite some of them down and kill them, but you divvy up the Infestors and the Ultras and actually, multitask in 2 places, and that's where Snoot makes, I guess his Roaches, he never really goes Ultras anymore, but his Roaches look unbeatable. But then even when he gets to Brood Lords eventually, he still looks so solid.
First off, you're right. I agree on all points, but going derailed for a moment, I'm trying to think of a commentator equivalent of rest in case of bitch face. In terms of the way we talk about players sometimes. A bad choice of commentator voice? I don't know. I can't think of anything.
Why would you do this?
If anyone's got better ideas in chat, please throw them at me. If it's good enough, I'll end up using it for weeks to come. I'm good at being annoying like that. Speaking of annoying like that, a couple of Marines all almost dead picking off the last few drones in Namshar's natural. This can't feel good for poor Namshar, who has to respond everywhere. But this really goes to the power of MaSa, by the way. Oh, this is a slaughter. This is a huge slaughter. I was going to say the power of MaSa through this game. I brought it up earlier. I'll bring it up again now. It wasn't really about any one engagement where MaSa took on the craziest, biggest A move versus A move Clash of the Titans. No, it was a lot of guerrilla warfare tactics, getting around the map, catching Namshar over and over again with drops. I mean, again, not to critique Namshar, because most Zerg players don't do this, but this might be one of the rare games where, okay, if you're not going Corruptors, having a few more Spore Crawlers in each base may have been more worth it. I mean, MaSa got away with so many drops this game.
Yeah. Not to forget, Namshar did take out a lot of medevacs earlier on. Originally MaSa's drops weren't exactly doing a whole lot, but just consistency and persistence really started to work out. And especially as Namshar, I guess, stopped getting Lings to help and only got Ultras, it was harder and harder for him to deal with it.
I would like to point out that the Liberators without range also are providing a huger problem than they should be. I gotta admit, I'm a little bit surprised Ravagers just haven't taken out almost every single Liberator. Instead, Namshar ends up flopping in the engagements, and I think what's happening, funny enough, is he's putting a lot more focus on his Ultralisks, which should at this point just be meat shields for his important units like the Ravagers, like the Infestors. Right there, no Corrosive Biles going down on any of those Liberators.
I would say at this point, pretty impossible for Namshar to win a fight.
Yeah, well, at this point it's too far gone, but it's just, I'm saying for the course of this game, so many Ravagers, so many Infestors, and not much use out of either of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
well, that's a pretty big mess up by MaSa. Getting his entire bio
it is, but
taken out.
At the same time, MaSa's able to rebuild his army, whereas Namshar's not. And let's not forget, there's still a whole field of Liberators and missile turrets and you name it. That's game. GG. MaSa takes game number 1. Again, this is pretty impressive to me as well because MaSa is playing at he's East Coast is like 6:30 a.m. Something pro gamers are usually not awake at that time. And he's playing cross server. He's coming to Europe to play against Namshar. This isn't like back and forth through servers. Everybody's playing on Europe.
MaSa still looks good on all fronts.
All right, so the bets for this are a bit small because it's the first matchup of the day. They're actually kind of close. You want to take a small guess before I reveal?
5,000 to 5,000 to 7,000.
No, not even close. It's 1,100 on Namshar and 1,001 on MaSa.
All right then.
Good try though, Sandra. I like your enthusiasm.
Thanks.
Not everyone has a million partoos like you for rigging bets and match fixing. Sorry. I
was thinking about the last time I heard bets, and I could have sworn last time I heard bets was like 11,000 or some shit. I don't remember.
Okay, so Frost's gonna be the next map as we load into the lobby. And there was a... Where's the schedule posted here? There's some small delays. Like, I know Harstom's train was late because he's going to the TakeTV studio to play in person. So I'm not sure if that match is actually being delayed for later or not. But after this series, we'll have the choice of Euthermal versus Fear or TLO versus Harstom. I gotta be honest, like, I know crowd favoritism is going to say TLO and Harstom, and I'll throw up a poll like I was yesterday for you guys to pick. But I really want to see Euthermal and Fear, to be honest with you. That's like a preview of the Dutch StarCraft League games to come in the future as well.
That is true. At first I was like not so on board, but then I thought about it, and that might actually be an interesting matchup. I think we're allowed to go. I don't know why he mentioned...
Oh. Yeah, I don't know. Mapufa is like TakeTV. You should give him host and stuff when we do this. So they don't get...
Okay.
Okay, let's load into the Frost. I mean, there's no drama or anything. I'm just... Yesterday, they were the one insisting on hosting all the lobbies and stuff, even though I offered to, so... Just so we don't step on any toesies.
Yeah. It's... Okay, well...
Okay, game number 2 in this best of 3. Spawning here on the bottom right side of the map, he is going to be the Red Zerg player, currently down 1 after quite a long game 1. It's Namshar.
In the top left, as the Blue Terran, he is MaSa.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Frank's 1 no in chat. Just hit me up with a Rifkin make your bed. Before Zombie Grub got a Zombie Grub make your bed. What's happening, man? I feel like this is like crossing a black cat.
Mine looks like it is made. That's...
You know what?
It's deceit.
Fuck you guys, my bed is actually made for once. For the most part.
See, when I'm looking at our cameras right now, mine looks like it's made because I don't actually use my comforter. I use the Horde blanket that's all wrapped up behind my chair. And for you, I think there's like a pillar or something to your right or to your left that looks like the comforter is not made. That's what I'm going with.
That's what we're going with? That's the analytics of this?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Gonna get some bed making commentary. I'll have to put some pants on.
You know what? Making your bed is not good anyway. So, suck it.
Oh yeah, isn't it like if you make your bed, it helps bacteria breed or something like that? Or I can't.
Yeah,
recall.
exactly, something like that. Yeah,
actually, this is like the equivalent of like invite. You guys are the girl. You viewers are the girl I'm bringing over to my house, and I was like in a frantic frenzy to clean up and tidy up the camera space since I'm trying a new camera angle today. So what
spray
you
that
can't
Axe body spray.
Exactly, right? If I were to shift my camera slightly left or slightly right, you'd just see a bunch of shit I piled off to the side. Because I was like, I literally just pushed everything off the camera, is what I did.
I can't wait until I'm like in this like tiny ass Korean room where like there's no room for mistakes. They're gonna judge me so harshly if I have anything out of place. So the 211 I think is coming down here right now for MaSa. Yeah, it looks like it's cross spawn Frost. There's like, I mean, I think there's really two options. I don't think you can go for tank pushes anymore. Any other position you can go, and you can do a tank push, especially horizontal. But for cross, I think it's either a 3cc build or the 211, which some Zergs say 211 is easy to defend against. I would say if you're good enough, it's never easy to defend against, or not good enough, like great enough, right? Like if you're gun. But the 3cc build has kind of been, I feel, more common amongst the European foreigners anyways. They don't cast too many Americans too often, but I would say that even for them too, I've been seeing it a lot more. And MaSa likes the aggression. He did do some significant damage eventually with drops, so I might be thinking along the same lines there.
That's actually an interesting way to phrase that too, the eventually aspect of that too, because you're right, like, this game started off weird, there was like that quote-unquote bait, the siege tank didn't get a lot accomplished, and for the most part was driven off, but then, when he was good to go with the medevacs, and the multiple medevacs at that, that's when the heat turned up. I mean, even losing one, a fully loaded medevac, should have been devastating, and shut all aggression down, but it didn't. This time around, rather than muck about with that tank, going a lot faster into the Marines, getting those drops coming out to at the time immediately, we might see that same damage, but like a minute and a half earlier. It's going to really depend on Namshar to have those extra queens out. I mean, right now he's sitting on 3, hoping to get that 4th one out. Obviously, a 5th would be ideal. And of course, if that's the case, you push out the medevacs and those drops cease.
Yeah. Well, Namshar, of course, Frozen Temple, especially if you are just predicting them to go for a 3-rack Reaper or even a 2-rack Reaper, that changes up how you might want to play. Frozen Temple is, I think, the last map that feels like you have to play roaches, just because of how often people 3-rack Reaper on it, where everything else is technically you can do Mutiling Bling, although it is come down to style as well. But Namshar going for like a fairly quick lair, only one evolution chamber going for the +1. This isn't too surprising, but I want to see if he actually has a Roachborn, and he does, as well as a second evolution chamber just a little bit later.
Yo, Oglak, sending some of that Twitch Prime sub, by the way. Thank you kindly. Good way to get this game going. Quick reminder that, we definitely appreciate all your subs today. It's like a disclaimer I feel that needs to be put out, because I don't want anyone to feel mistakenly robbed. Any subscriptions, any donations, anything like that today stays on our channel. But if you do want to help the prize pool, if you want to help TakeTV, you can go check out their channel for more over there. We do want to try and help them get to $3,500 in prizing, so of course I'm going to be pointing you guys there quite a lot today. Sorry in advance for the annoyingness of repetition.
Sorry.
I'm sorry, because I'm Canadian, and it's the proper way to pronounce that word.
Calm down there. 2 medevacs fly right into the queens and lings. Not much to do there. He cannot lose this first medevac without at least dropping some of the Marines. That would be probably the worst 2-on-1 he's done in a while.
It's only like a couple of unit of queens too. Like, if you get caught by 5 queens, you're like, ah, son of a gun, I didn't expect him to be there. But when you have like 2 queens whittling away at you like that, you're like, oh, that was latency, probably. Yeah,
it's like a morale defeat as well. So creep is actually getting cleaned up pretty well here, and this is the thing about the drops, is like as long as they're doing something and like not absolutely nothing, then I think that it all adds up eventually. So MaSa
that was a nice
adds all of his army up, and this can surprise the Zerg player.
That was actually maybe a game-ending Widowmine hit, because that was 14 lings, that was all the cannon fodder.
Even with the 14 lings, that's probably 2 seconds of stutter step. Namshar did not expect the full-on drop, I believe. Like the push, rather.
That's straight up game. There's no way you come back from this many drone losses like this early. He's not going to get clean up the Marines. This is like, I could try to do this build a million times on ladder, and I'll never make it look as good as MaSa just made it look.
Well, yeah, but it does sometimes happen. Like, if you just reinforce with the
Namshar's hands are off the
and
keyboard,
fourth
by the way.
medevac, yeah, you just can't believe it, because the 2-1-1 is so common, and the pairing up of the medevacs is also fairly common. It's half and half. Like, either they pair it up and push, or they keep on dropping you.
I'm wondering... no, he was moving around. As you said, there's no way that was like a technical problem to have that go the way it did.
No, that was
That was disbelief. I don't blame him either. If I had made that same mistake in a tournament that's got this much money, this much riding on it, I would also be in disbelief of like, what? But it is, hold the phone guys, double elimination. So Namshar's not out of the tournament just yet. And we've seen plenty of instances where players like Snoot and others have lost in the first round of an IEM qualifier and come back from the loser's bracket to win it all. So I'm not going to try to oversell Namshar. He's a good player. I think he's still got a good chance. I hope he sticks through the loser's bracket, and I wish him the best of luck. That being said, guys, we're probably going to hit up our first commercial break of the day. I'm going to check in on those votes. We don't have a lot of people voting so far. 20 votes coming in through Twitter. And I am intentionally using Twitter over straw poll. Which match do you want to see next for TTV's Penthouse Party? It's a big, heavy emphasis on TLO versus Hearthstone. I personally got my vote for Thermal versus Fear, but it's not mattering because it's a 15% to 85% vote. So you guys have a few more minutes to get your votes in while you can. Maybe you have time to change the system. Or maybe this is all just rigged. Topical humor. Ding! We'll see you guys in a few minutes. Thanks for watching.